Hey folks, Monday night was the top 8 on Season 4 of The Voice. Last week we said toodaloo to Chris Thomas and Josiah Hawley. It's a tough year to be a boy on a show like this, isn't it? I'll bet Usher and Shakira feel like crap since they've pretty much coached the bulk of their teams right out the door. Especially Shakira. Well, I mean, Usher, at least he still has a small chance of winning, but Shakira? If she isn't out of the game this week, then she'll be out next week because she is clearly on borrowed time. With a stolen contestant, ironically enough. Anywho, on to this week's performances. The first of the night was Judith Hill. Judith got to pick her own song this week. I guess Adam kinda owed her since he pretty much forced her to do a song last week that she really didn't want to do. So the song she picked this week was Hashtag That Power by will.i.am and Justin Bieber. I mean, it was at this point that her coach should have stepped in and said, okay, you can pick your own song this week, but not that one. I get that maybe she wanted to do something more current than what she's been doing because she's been really old-fashioned, but will.i.am is just too monotone for a singing competition. Plus, I have a natural resistance to any song with a hashtag in the title. I think that is the dumbest thing I have ever seen. Performance-wise, though, I thought it was fantastic. It was probably the best performance that we've seen from Judith yet. I mean, she put on a really good show. I just don't think the song had enough range or substance to do her any favors. Even people that enjoyed the performance, I don't think are going to go rush into iTunes to buy the song, and you should always keep that in mind when you're picking songs, and sales count for votes. Plus, going first of the night, I think there's a small chance that she could end up on the chopping block this week. Oh, and Judith, you're about one Sanjaya Malakar hairdo away from a lawsuit. Blake loved her personality. Usher thought it was a great way to open the show, and Adam said that he was confused by the song choice at first, but he loved what she did with it. Not that he would have said anything if he didn't. Next up was Holly Tucker. Poor Holly always has to perform so early in the show. Blake let her choose her own song too this week, and the song she picked was Done by the band Perry. Blake thought it was a brilliant song choice since every great female country artist does a song that has a lot of attitude, and that may be true. The problem is, I don't think anybody really believes that Holly Tucker is a badass, and so she may actually be done this week. Well, with songs about being done and going home and getting gone, they're all just never a good idea if you're singing competition superstitious like I am. No, she sounded fine like she always does. She's just never very convincing. What is it? A jack of all trades and a master of none. I'm pretty sure she's going to end up being Blake's first casualty. Of course, I've been predicting her demise every single week, so maybe she'll defy the odds again this week, but I doubt it. The good news is, though, that she didn't drop out of school for a long shot chance at getting famous like a lot of people do on these shows. She's still taking classes, so at least she has a backup plan. The coaches liked it, but they seem to like her boots better than her performance. Next up is the Swon brothers, the last remaining guys in the competition. I figured they would have been the first ones gone, but now they're the last ones surviving. The song they picked this week was Seven Bridges Road by the Eagles, and Blake was happy they picked it because he said that the Swon brothers remind him of the Eagles, which is what Sheryl Crow said last week, so it's not like Blake came up with this little comparison all on his own, but whatever. The setup for this performance was probably about the corniest thing I have ever seen on one of these shows. The boys performed around a real campfire, and the backup singers were sitting there too, like, I don't know, like they were getting ready to toast marshmallows or something, so it was all sorts of corny, and I thought it started out kind of awful. They really could have done without all the backup singers for most of the song, because it sounded like 5 people were up there singing at different times. I mean, they were totally out of sync. Eventually it did improve, but I don't think I have ever seen Big Swon look more uncomfortable. I don't know if he's afraid of fire or whatever, but he looked terrified. Of course, I'd be a little bit scared too if my future hinged on whether Skinny Swon was going to screw up his performance or not. No, I think they'll probably survive this week since they're the only guys left, and they weren't the worst of the night, but I won't be totally shocked if they end up getting the axe. The coaches didn't seem to love it as much as they pretended to. Adam pointed out that they weren't flawless, and then he apologized for pointing that out. Yo, wimp! Next up is Sasha Allen, the only person left on Shakira's team. The song Shakira gave her this week is Without You. Not the old Without You that Mariah Carey covered, thank God, but the new one with Usher in it, which is a little better, I suppose. Well, not better, but less wore out, I guess I should say. Shakira says that she picked this song because of the line, I will never win this game without you. Well, guess what, Shakira? You aren't going to win it with her either. You all are screwed. No, Sasha said that she was going to use her boyfriend as an inspiration when she was performing this song because they've been together for 10 years and had 2 kids. Well, honey, if he ain't put a ring on it by now, then I just don't know what to tell you. I know halfway through the song I wanted to put a muzzle on it. As is usually the case with Sasha, it was just way too overdramatic. I thought it was a bit all over the place. The coaches said that they liked it, and Blake thinks it'll be enough to buy Shakira another week. Probably not, but who knows. Maybe Shakira's fans will pull together for her. You never know. Next up is Sarah Simmons. The song Adam gave her this week was somebody that I used to know, and during rehearsal, he didn't think she was being angry enough with the song. Adam, She already barks out songs like a pack of pissed off werewolves. How much anger do you want her to get? I seriously hated this performance. I really hope he gets Sarah eliminated this week. Otherwise, I'm going to have to buy some earplugs or something because, my gosh, it sounds like she's experimenting. She doesn't even craft the song, but she goes from high to low and squealing to growling and screaming. It's like there's 5 different people in her singing, and half of them sound like they're in pain. I just can't help but think she must be doing a number on her throat. I'm not an expert or anything, but half of the stuff that she does sounds like very destructive. I mean, I spend most of the performance thinking, my gosh, her voice is going to be destroyed by the time she's 40. She's going to have to sing through one of them things that you hold up to your neck, you know, like they do in those anti-smoking commercials. And if I'm being perfectly honest, it wouldn't really sound that much different. So yeah, I thought it was awful times 12. Usher said that it was an incredible effort, and Shakira said that it was interesting. Translation, they hated it as much as I did. Next up was Michelle Chamuel. The song Michelle picked for herself this week was Grenade by Bruno Mars. No, Michelle, now no. I done told y'all about these Bruno Mars songs. I'm just sick of them. Well, I'm not as annoyed by this one as I am by some of the others, so I guess it could have been a whole lot worse. Anyway, Usher decided that it would be a good idea to make Michelle's voice the loudest instrument in this song, and that's probably the smartest decision that he's made all season, because I don't know if I would have liked this song with a full band from beginning to end, but I quite like the way that Michelle did it. I'm still not sure why Usher, though, is obsessed with making her look in the mirrors when she's singing. He did that once during rehearsal, and this time there were like 50 mirrors on stage. I think I get what he was going for, but I think one big mirror would have been more effective because I was looking for the price stickers. I felt more like I was walking down the aisles at Sears, but whatever. Yeah, it was a good performance. There was a couple of times where I thought Michelle was getting a little bit too dramatic, though. Well, she's always somewhat dramatic, but it usually seems more natural. And there was a couple of points in this performance where it went all theatrical. Don't you go all Sasha Allen on me, Michelle. I liked it, though. The coaches pretty much agreed that it was one of the best performances of the night, and it was. Next up was Danielle Bradbery. The song Blake gave Danielle this week was Grandpa, Tell Me About the Good Old Days by the Judds. Now, I love Winona Judd. I was never a fan of the Judds as a duo, though. I always thought their songs were kind of boring. Of course, there ain't a whole lot that a mother and daughter duo can sing about, really, without seeming a little bit awkward, so maybe that's why. Anyway, Blake picked this song because he thinks that the message is more important now than it ever was. I'm not sure why. I guess he thinks that the world is kind of screwed up, but guess what, Blake? It was screwed up in Grandpa's day, too. They just didn't know about it because they didn't have TV or internet. I guess they could have looked at the newspaper, but they were really too busy beating their clothes on a rock or killing their own food to give a damn, I guess. If I had to go back to Grandpa's good old days, it would be like hell on earth, and I'd probably be suicidal, so I would prefer to stay right here in 2013. So yeah, it's a dumb, hokey old song. Danielle made me like it about as much as I possibly can, which is not at all, but it didn't make me like her any less. She's still one of my favorites, and I still think that she's the one to beat. Oh, and I didn't like the set any more than I liked the song choice. With Danielle sitting on a front porch swing, it kind of looked like something out of a hee-haw skit. I was waiting for the Culhanes to show up any minute. How many of y'all remember that show? The hee-haw? It used to be on Saturday nights when I was a kid. Or maybe I'm just old. Y'all youngsters are probably like, what in the heck is Grandpa talking about? I'm talking about the good old days. And the last of the night was Amber Carrington, the pimp spot for the second time within 3 weeks. The song Amber saddled her with this week was Skyfall by Adele, and she didn't really want to do it because she was afraid that everybody was going to be like, oh really, she's going to do an Adele song? Smart young lady, that Amber Carrington. She knew she shouldn't be doing that song. Adam tried to make her feel better about it by saying it's not a real Adele song, it's a James Bond song, and that made it even worse for me because I could deal with an Adele song as long as it's not one that's been done to death, but I rarely like Bond songs. I mean, there's been a couple of them good over the years, but for the most part I really don't like them, and I really don't care for this one either. She did a fine job with it, but I'm not sure why Adam wants to steer her away from doing pop and country in favor of songs like this that she will never record. I mean, I get that he wants her to show some variety, but I want to hear the kind of stuff that she'll do in the real world when she gets off the show. And while Danielle and Michelle are securing their fan bases, I mean, Danielle with country and Michelle with pop, Amber is getting yo-yoed around, and it's not really clear where she fits in. But like I said, she did do a great job with it, but Adam is not doing her any favors by not helping her establish a clear identity on the show. It's the reason that he hasn't won since he got lucky back in season 1, and it's the reason he's not going to win this season either. Anyway, the coaches loved it. Adam said that this is the first time anybody on the show has done an Adele song justice. Oh, yeah, nifty coming from the man that just a few minutes ago was trying to disqualify this as a real Adele song. So that was it. Before I go on, let's briefly discuss the other performances of the night that nobody cares about. Blake performed his new single at the beginning of the show. I didn't even remember the name of it, but I thought it was right stupid. Look, I like country music as much as the next person, but when the words chew tobacco, chew tobacco, chew tobacco, spit are used in a song, I got to draw the line right there. Judith, Sasha, Sarah, and Michelle sang Diamonds. It was a pretty much who cares performance of a song that I'm getting sick of, or sicker of, I guess I should say, since I never really liked the song to begin with. And Holly, Amber, Danielle, and the Mario brothers sang Something More. Sounded fine, but once again, it looked like a hee-haw skit. Amber must have felt a little bit out of place there as the only non-Blaker in that performance, but whatever. So anyway, going home this week, I don't know. I'm going to say Holly and Sasha. I want it to be Sarah and Sasha, but I don't know if I'll be that dang lucky. Well, I think we know that Amber, Danielle, and Michelle are safe. I won't be surprised by anybody else, but I think the Swon brothers will probably stay. Anyway, leave me a comment and let me know who you think's going home. Let me know if you're crazy about any of the performances. Once again, I wasn't crazy about them. I feel like I'm enjoying performances when I don't like the songs, or I'm enjoying the songs and don't like the performance. So if they could just match the two up for me one good time, maybe I'd be happy. Anyway, that's it. Leave me a comment. Come be my Facebook friend. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see y'all next time.